The EFL Championship is back, and we saw 5 goals in the second half at Ewood Park as Blackburn Rovers put 4 past Derby County in a 4-2 victory on opening night. Blackburn lined up with their new striker Maktar Gay up front leading the line, with Sammy Smodic named amongst the substitutes despite the rumours still of a move to the Premier League and possibly Ipswich Town. While Derby County handed a debut to former Forest midfielder Ben Osborne, an on-loan midfielder as well, David Ozo, with the commenters saying brilliantly that Derby have nicknamed him the Ozo Layer. Now, in terms of the match, the first half was a fairly close affair, I thought, even though Derby didn't really threaten much in truth. Blackburn started quite heavily on the front foot, pressing in front of the home crowd, but Derby did have a period of composure before Rovers broke the deadlock. Lewis Travers bursting through the midfield to create space, sliding the ball out wide and across the box that saw Tyrese Dolan pounce with a pretty good finish, although from close range, to open up his goal-scoring campaign for the season. In the second half, though, the newly promoted Rams started to push Blackburn back. They almost scored direct from a Nathaniel Mendes-Lang corner before a smart reaction from Ainsley Pears stopped it from going over the line. Last season, Derby, of course, very successful from set pieces, and they struck their first in the Championship with a corner routine that saw Curtis Nelson thunder a header home for the equaliser in the 67th minute. Now, that goal had come just after a triple substitution from John Eustace for Blackburn, bringing on Smodic alongside 2 new signings in Andreas Weimann and Japanese forward Yuki Ohashi. It was a masterstroke in the end for Blackburn as they turned the tide, with all 3 of these getting on the score sheet. Just 3 minutes after Derby's equaliser, centre-back Cashin gave the ball away midway inside Derby's half before Travers slotted centre-back Hayden Carter in down the right-hand side. With a sensational Cruyff-style turn, he put 2 Derby defenders on their backsides and put a lovely left-foot cross to the unmarked Weimann at the back post. A centre-back classic play down the right from Carter. Then, as Derby pushed, came potentially Smodic's last goal at Ewood Park for Blackburn, but it did give the home fans another chance to celebrate him, as his smart movement in the box allowed Callum Britton to find him with a pullback and he slotted home. Smodic then turned provider for the new striker Ohashi as he lifted the ball over smartly over Josh Vickers in a one-on-one situation, giving Blackburn 3 goals in 12 minutes to lead 4-1. Derby did add a consolation from another corner towards the end, giving them some positives to take home with a Kane Wilson header. In truth, they did collapse a bit in that second half. They were caught pressing and they got picked off and be disappointed to concede 4 goals overall. By Blackburn's side, who were good in transition and picked their moments well. Next up for Blackburn in the league, it is Norwich away, while Derby will host Middlesbrough. Sheffield United returned to the Championship with a comfortable 2-0 victory at Deepdale over Preston, who themselves, after 5 straight defeats at the end of last season without a goal, start this season with another goalless defeat. Now, Ryan Lowe set up in a 3-5-2 formation, handing debuts to new additions Stefan Thordarson and Sam Greenwood in midfield, while Sheffield United fielded 4 of their 6 summer signings, left-back Harrison Burrows, right-back Alfie Gilchrist, midfielder Callum O'Hare and striker Kiefer Moore, all starting for the Blades. Now, in the match, it took just 12 minutes for Preston to fall behind as an out-of-shape defence had been pulled about before Andre Brooks laid into the path of Ollie Arblaster on the edge of the box for a huge deflected strike, completely wrong-footed goalkeeper Freddie Woodman, and there was nothing he could do about it. For the 20-year-old midfielder Arblaster, it's the first goal he scored for Sheffield United, having scored twice with Port Vale on loan last season. But the second goal sadly does have to lay at the feet of Woodman as an error, with a throw out in the 55th minute which saw Gus Hamer brilliantly control and side foot half-volley lob over the despairing goalkeeper to give Sheffield United the cushion they craved. It was a really good finish, to be fair, from Hamer, but Woodman is one he's not going to want to see again. Manager Ryan Lowe did back his goalkeeper afterwards, saying the mistake does suck the life out of you, the players, the staff, but there's no blame culture on Freddie. He's been fantastic for us. He's pushed himself to get back into the game after a slight niggle. When keepers make mistakes, you get punished like that. Now, Sheffield United new signing Kiefer Moore. He might be wondering how he didn't get himself a goal later on. After a wandering Brooks down the right, found himself on the touchline. He crossed the ball across and Moore miskicked it and it went harmlessly away from the goal. Stats-wise, though, the Blades just edged possession with 56%, and despite similar numbers of shots, Preston really did fail to have a cutting edge. Chris Wilder commented afterwards that he believed that Sheffield United controlled the tempo and the pace, particularly from the 2 of Arblaster and Hamer in midfield. But he was quick to manage the expectations, saying we still have work to do and there's a hell of a long way to go and a hell of a lot of work to do. Now, next up for Preston, they'll have to pick themselves up in the EFL Cup at home to Sunderland before they travel to Swansea City next weekend, while Sheffield United's next league fixture is at Bramall Lane against QPR. Sunderland started under Regis Lebris with an opening day double at Cardiff to get their season going with 3 points at the first opportunity. Sunderland fans were delighted to see Jack Clarke named in the lineup after some rumours of summer transfers, obviously one of their best players, as Regis Lebris lined up his first team for his match in charge. Cardiff had a more positive hope for the season as well. Errol Bullock, of course, doing excellently for them last season, so they had high expectations. Cardiff gave debuts to Callum Chambers and to Chris Willock, their signings of the summer, but centre-back O'Nien for Sunderland opened the scoring as he headed the ball past Ethan Horvath from close range in the 18th minute. He was left unmarked from a Patrick Roberts free kick and it was nodded back across to him. Cardiff created a number of first-half chances but were unable to get level in front of the home fans. However, Sunderland were very difficult to break down, and while Perry and G fired over from a free kick, the visitors did always look a threat on the counter-attack. Striker Mayenda saw a shot saved by Cardiff before Jack Clarke got the crucial second goal of the game. A short layoff from a Joe Bellingham dribble as Clarke cut inside to smash into the Cardiff net. A reminder, if not already clear, why he is so important to this Sunderland team. So a 2-0 win for Sunderland. Patterson, O'Nien and Sirkin were all named in the EFL Championship Team of the Week for their performance. Lebris commented after the game, "It wasn't easy to start away, especially here at Cardiff. The game was tough. We started well, I think, and when we scored the goal, the game changed because Cardiff had to take more risks." Cardiff face a difficult championship fixture up next as they travel to Turf Moor to take on Burnley, who will be high after their big win away at Luton. And Sunderland host their first home championship game of the season against Sheffield Wednesday, who also had a very good result. The opening day clash between Hull City and Bristol City sprung into life late in the game, with new signing for the Robins, Fally Mayulu, having his debut goal cancelled out by a late Oscar Estepinian penalty. Tim Walter made his bow as Hull City manager, of course, the former Hamburg coach taking charge for the first time since Liam Rossini's sacking, while Liam Manning led the Bristol City side out as he has done since his appointment in November 2023. Max O'Leary and Ivor Pandor's saves ensured a goalless first half as the game took some time to get a bit of rhythm with many new additions on show. And it's Mehmeti's deflected shot on top of the Hull crossbar early in the second half as the Tigers made mistakes playing out from the back. Hull had warnings from Bristol City and from their press as they continued to make these mistakes, but it went unheeded and they were punished when substitute Fally Mayulu superbly controlled a sliced clearance to him and he found the bottom corner with a half volley from 15 yards out. Aged 22 years and 26 days, Mayulu became the youngest player to score on his league debut for Bristol City since Louis Britton versus Brentford in May 2021. But Hull did find a way back into the match as a penalty was awarded for a foul on Marvin Mellon, allowing Estepinian to slot the ball into the bottom corner for the match to finish 1-1 with a share of the points. Tim Walter was the more positive of the two managers. In his first post-match press conference, he praised the team's character, while Liam Manning described his feelings as hugely frustrated and disappointed, but more from a perspective of how his side approached the game and didn't get the 3 points he felt they earned. Hull City will look to build on their point against Bristol City away at Plymouth Argyle next time out, as Liam Manning's Robins host Millwall in Bristol City's first Championship home game of the season. Leeds United and Portsmouth served up an entertaining clash at Ellen Road to kick off the Championship season. A 3-3 draw with Portsmouth minutes away from pulling off a stunning return to the second tier. It was an emphatic start from Leeds in the match as Wilfred Gnonto, Matteo Joseph and Elia Grueff all struck the woodwork in the first 7 minutes of the match, as incredibly Leeds were denied that early goal after some sustained pressure. But Leeds did make the breakthrough. Speedy winger Dan James nipped in and he was just too quick for Conor Ogilvie as referee Oliver Langford pointed straight to the spot, and it was Pascal Struijk who dispatched the penalty for the home side. Portsmouth shocked their way back into the match as Marlon Pack picked out Elias Sorensen with a nicely disguised low pass into the penalty area, and the Danish forward buried the visitors' first chance of the afternoon. The second shot was even better for Pompey. Callum Lang struck an excellent 25-yard drive past Ilya Meslier with his right foot after a failed clearance gave Pompey the lead. Leeds did not take too long after the half-time restart though to reassert their lead as Wilfred Gnonto cut inside from the left and finished low well at the near post after a good dribble. An already dramatic fixture had an exciting second half and then a frantic stoppage time followed. Lang had a penalty for Portsmouth, which he easily slotted in, although the replay suggested Bogle's challenge on side may have been outside of the box. But it looked like Portsmouth had grabbed themselves a victory. But late into stoppage time, Brendan Harrison, on as a substitute, made a quick turn in the box and fired into the bottom corner. Looked like he'd rescued a point. He did rescue a point in the end, but it was almost even better for the home side. Aronson then had a glorious one-on-one opportunity with a chance to win it, but to the shock of everybody, dragged his effort wide. 3-3 it finished. Stat of the day goes to Portsmouth, who scored with 3 of their 5 shots in the match, the fewest shots by a side to score 3 or more goals in a single championship match since Huddersfield against Luton in October 2022. After that afternoon of excitement, it's West Brom up next for Daniel Farke's side. That looks to be an exciting match as well at the Hawthorns this weekend. Portsmouth host their first championship game in 12 years as they welcome Luton Town to Fratton Park. Middlesbrough treated their home fans at the Riverside to a win on opening weekend as they saw off Luke Williams' Swansea with a 1-0 scoreline. Manager Michael Carrick commented afterwards, "It was definitely hard-earned. We knew going into the game what kind of game it was going to be, potentially the way they play, knowing what they'd already faced at the end of last season from the same side." Isaiah Jones was a constant threat for Carrick's side. He almost scored a long-range lob over the Swansea goalkeeper early on, before he did bring about the only goal of the game. His mazy dribble down the right wing saw him beat Swansea defenders and was brought down by Azim Abdullahi, with the referee pointing to the spot. So it came to Latte Lath, who of course had an impressive previous season scoring record, and he started this season the same vein by converting the penalty confidently, powering past the keeper, touching the post on the way in. In truth, Borough should have added to their advantage either side of half-time, as Jones saw a shot deflected over and Latte Lath headed wide from a corner. The match saw Middlesbrough dominate overall. Swansea struggled to create many significant chances. Their best opportunity came late in the first half, but Middlesbrough goalkeeper Seny Dieng made a crucial save to maintain their lead. So Middlesbrough's Emmanuel Latte Lath has now scored in his last 7 championship appearances with 9 goals. He's the joint longest scoring run from a player in the competition since its rebrand in 2004, alongside Charlie Austin in 2012, Jordan Rhodes in 2013 and Alexander Mitrovic in 2021. So keep an eye to see whether he can break that next week. A Saturday lunchtime kickoff awaits Middlesbrough next as they face Paul Warne's Derby County away from home after Derby's opening day loss to Blackburn, while Swansea will take on managerless Preston at home after the surprise early departure of Ryan Lowe during the week. Watford recovered from dropping a 2-goal lead at the Den to score a late winner through substitute Mileta Rajovic in an entertaining 3-2 victory for the Hornets. Among the excitement of the new season at Millwall, there was a sad message as the club remembered Sarkic, who died in his home country of Montenegro in June at the age of 26. There was a number of tributes to Sarkic before the game, which included wreaths being laid on the pitch behind both goals, a touching video on the big screen, and his family were also welcomed onto the pitch in a very emotional scene. Now, in the match itself, Watford struck first for Tom Cleverley's side in bizarre fashion as Aduke Ambe struck an in-swinging corner, which had Millwall's new keeper Lucas Jensen, signed from Lincoln in the summer, scrambling and flew into the net on 22 minutes. An astonishing way to score your first of the season. Millwall created opportunity for an equaliser. George Honeyman hit the post after a penalty claim in the build-up, and in the second half, George Saville also thumped a header against the woodwork from close range. Watford's second was a stunner. Georgi Chakvatadze's brilliant free kick left Jensen with no chance on this one, curling a right-footed effort at pace from a good 25 yards out. But then Duncan Watmore hit a double. It shocked Watford. He lashed a close one off the underside of the bar, and with 2 minutes to go, he picked out the far corner with an excellent strike. But Rajovic had the last laugh for Watford as Deli Bashiri saw his deflected cross lift up to the head of Rajovic for a dramatic late winner in stoppage time from close range. It gave the Hornets a reprieve, having let that 2-goal lead slip. Watford have now won on the opening day in 5 successive league campaigns, which is pretty impressive. They have a great opening day run, better than anybody else in the EFL at the moment, while Duncan Watmore's performances earned him a spot in the EFL Championship Team of the Week. Next up, Mill will take a trip to Bristol to face Liam Manning's Bristol City, and Watford get their first home league game of this championship season with Stoke City, the visitors. Oxford United returned to the second tier of English football, and they were well worth their 2-0 win over the Canaries at the Kassam Stadium, as Mark Harris and Cameron Brannigan were the men that did the damage. The day started badly for new Norwich manager Johannes Hofthorpe when winger Jonathan Rowe was withdrawn from the Canary squad on Saturday amid speculation that giants Marseille and France had submitted a bid to submit the 21-year-old. And then it didn't get much better as Oxford started the match really well. And they turned that good start into a 1-0 lead after a mistake from Norwich defender Grant Hanley. He misread the bounce of the ball, a long ball over the top, and fell under the challenge from Mark Harris. It was fair, just lost his body shape. Harris then cut inside Shane Duffy, and his finish went between the legs of Angus Gunn and trickled into the net for a huge opening goal for Oxford. And Brannigan had already had a deflected effort hit the bar before he sealed the deal as Sam Long pulled the ball back for him to finish. Long was excellent all afternoon and Brannigan was clinical with his shots. They took a 2-0 lead. Now, Norwich struggled to create any real major chances. They came closest with Jack Stacey hitting a goal-bound effort, which left-back Joe Bennett blocked really well to stop them scoring, and it kept Oxford a clean sheet on their opening day. So Oxford became the first newly promoted side to win their opening game of the Championship by a margin of 2 or more goals while also keeping a clean sheet since Millwall did it to Bristol City in a 3-0 win in 2010-2011. While Norwich manager Thorpe blamed their defensive display and poor pressure on the Oxford defensive line as part of the tactical reasons they did not pick anything up. Oxford United will face their first away fixture of the season as they travel for a Friday night game under the lights against Coventry City, while Norwich will host Blackburn, who are fresh off scoring 10 goals in a week after 4 in the Championship opener and 6 at Stockport in the EFL Cup. Josh Meyer grabbed an opening day hat-trick as West Bromwich Albion got their Championship season off to a tremendous start with a 3-1 win at Queen's Park Rangers. In the battle between Cifuentes and Corberan, it was the Baggies manager who came out on top at Loftus Road, as QPR failed to take their chances when they came their way. But Queen's Park Rangers did take the lead after 16 minutes when Lucas Anderson waltzed through the West Brom defence to head home Ryan Coley's cross from the left flank. But Meyer struck with his first of the afternoon, rising unmarked to head home Torbjörn Hegen's cross after 10 minutes after the first goal from QPR. It was his first of the afternoon and Meyer was a handful, as we will see. 6 minutes after the break and he beat last season's goal tally with a second header. Tom Fellow standing up the cross, brilliant work on the right wing to set it up, and the striker rose to meet the header, brilliant to give them the lead. Then there was a third from the West Brom man, meaning he could take home the match ball. He missed 6 months last season with injury, and it proved a body blow from which the home side could not recover in this one. Brilliant from Meyer for a hat-trick on opening day. So West Brom were 3-1 victors. QPR will probably take some positivity from their 6 shots that they did manage to create on target against a strong opposing team in West Brom. But the Baggies will be delighted to take away an away win and 3 goals for their striker. So Josh Meyer became the first West Brom player to score a hat-trick in the opening day of the season since Alf Bentley in 1913-1914, which I didn't see. Don't know about the rest of you. Corberan commented on Meyer that he had a complicated year last season, but he worked really well and very hard in pre-season, and he deserved to impact the game the way that he did. But there's not much respite for QPR next as they face a trip to Sheffield United, who looked impressive in their opening day win at Preston, while Carlos Corberan and West Brom have a mouth-watering match day at home to Leeds United at the Hawthorns. Substitute Lewis Baker scored the only goal of the game in Stoke City versus Coventry City, which brought the Potters home 3 points on the opening weekend of the Championship. New goalkeeper Victor Johansson, midfielder Eric Boker and defender Ben Gibson all made their debuts, while 18-year-old Emre Tezgel impressed on his return from last season's loan at MK Dons. Coventry also had 3 starting debutants, keeper Dovin, midfielder Jack Rudoni and winger Ephron Mason-Clark, who they also signed in January, before allowing him to return on loan to Peterborough. Coventry started the quicker and Jack Redoni was pulling the strings in the early going, but Stoke should have gone ahead just before the break when Junior Chimedu rose highest to head Lyndon Gooch's far post cross against the upright. Strikers Haji Wright on his way back to full fitness after missing most of pre-season. Brandon Thomas-Asante, new signing of course for Coventry and West Bromwich Albion. They both made lively appearances from the bench as the visitors did look a threat up front. Took until the 78th minute for the winning goal to arrive from Stoke substitute Lewis Baker. He was only on the pitch for 2 minutes when Milian Manoff set a neat return pass to get Baker in down the inside right channel into the Coventry box, and he fired low through the keeper Oliver Dovin. It was the key moment of the match as Stoke saw the match through, picking up the points with a 1-0 win. Mark Robbins commented afterwards his Coventry side were well below the level that they expected. He said, "To be on the front foot is what we're after, and we were a little too passive. Definitely an opportunity missed. When we got into the second half, we controlled the game a lot more, but we didn't have enough quality with the ball." While Schumacher was happy with his substitutions, feeling that they turned the game for his Stoke City side. Next up, the Potters travel to opening day winners Watford in their next league outing, while Coventry will look to chase their first points of the season with a Friday night fixture at home to newly promoted Oxford United. Sheffield Wednesday struck 4 past a sorry Plymouth Argyle in the Sunday Championship fixture, with Wayne Rooney suffering a heavy defeat to Danny Roll on his Plymouth managerial debut. Wednesday started strongly as they controlled the early possession of the match, and Svante Ingelsson forced an early good save from Connor Hazard. He was preferred in Argyle's goal, as Michael Cooper has speculation that he's going to leave the Pilgrims. Having dominated the first half, Wednesday really did take a deserved lead into half-time. Debutant Jamal Lowe finished off a cross from close range, some excellent build-up play in there, and a great start for Sheffield Wednesday. It was Lowe again as he set up Wednesday's second, heading Jedi Gassimer's cross against Brendan Galloway for an own goal. The hosts continue to control the game. Plymouth own goal 2-0 down, not a great start, it got worse. Josh Windass added a third goal with a powerful strike from 6 yards after Anthony Masaba had pulled the ball back from the byline. The rout was completed as substitute Michael Smith, in the 6th minute of stoppage time, converted a cross from close range to make it a miserable afternoon for Plymouth. "I'm disappointed, angry, surprised," said Rooney. "I think everything we've seen from the players throughout pre-season today was a surprise to me. We knew it was important to try and get through the first 20 minutes and get some composure, and we didn't manage to do that. So I think the basics of the game were not good enough today, and it's not acceptable." In truth, it was a case of Sheffield Wednesday probably being really good and Plymouth really not performing at all. Danny Rolside could easily have scored 2 or 3 more, as Argyle managed to really create anything in front of goal and looked really quite poor defensively. So pressure straight away on Wayne Rooney. Wednesday will travel north for their next championship fixture as they take on fellow opening day winners Sunderland, while Rooney and Plymouth will need their home support behind them as they prepare for the visit of Hull City. Burnley made a hugely impressive statement victory away at Luton Town in the Monday night championship game. Scott Parker beginning his life as Claret's manager in style with a 4-1 win at Kenilworth Road. Luton had been struggling with defensive injuries, they had the whole entire backline out, which did prove a big challenge for Rob Edwards' side. But Burnley looked to pick up where they left off in the championship, and they went up in the 2022-23 season as champions. Captain Josh Brownhill fired the visitors into an early lead. They went down the middle, route one, bypassing the press that Luton had on, and a similar long ball routine again allowed Wilson Odebear to double their advantage before the break as Burnley were playing extremely direct. Tahith Chong for Luton did raise hopes of a brief comeback 10 minutes into the second half, but the Clarets managed to find another gear and Luton somewhat fell apart a bit in the second half. Rob Edwards' youthful side, including 2 teenagers, were powerless to respond. They could have conceded a 5th before the night was out. He said, "I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We have to deal with our vulnerabilities better." Dara O'Shea had added a 3rd for Burnley, and a great strike from Vitinha after a really good move from Burnley made it for a really bad night for Luton Town overall. New manager Scott Parker said it's nothing but praise he had for his team. As a coach, it's very enjoyable to see. It's a big result. It's a tough place to come. We had to show a different side to us in certain moments. I said to the players at times we're going to have to revert back to men, and I was proud of that. So a very good win. Burnley, of course, understandably, be well happy with that and putting a marker down for everybody else in the Championship. Dara O'Shea and Vitinha were named in the EFL Championship Team of the Week for Burnley as well, as Vitinha had the 2nd highest rating, if you look at whoscored.com, in the division with an 8.91 for his goal and performance out of 10. After that shell-shocking result, Rob Edwards will take his Luton side down to the South Coast to face League One champions Portsmouth, while Scott Parker manages his first league game at Turf Moor as they entertain Cardiff City.